So, I haven't been saying much recently. I got a bunch of stuff, and not the least of which are 200 amazing heaven sent angels to me that I'm having difficulty marrying them all at the same time. But beyond that, the condition of the world, the way we see it, is as follows. We have the United States, which has always relied on other people to pay her bills. She could squander her own resources like drunken sailors, create debt that she hasn't the slightest chance of a snowball in hell every day, has issued hundreds of trillions of dollars worth of currency that has no foundation in reality whatsoever. It doesn't matter. Just have to, as long as there's checks, as long as there's people willing to work for candy floss currency, it will survive. So, at one time, she was the brightest light on my planet. New York City, at one time, anybody was there, including your king, at 16 years of age. I felt drawn to New York City. The light drew me like a moth to a flame. And it was a good move, when I contrast what I would have learned at Don Mills Collegiate Institute in the years that I spent in New York City. I chose wisely, really wisely, it turns out. Anyway, that's not the point of this conversation. The point of this conversation is to delineate, draw lines of demarcation, to distinctions of what's real and what is not. Okay? So we have the United States, at one time the brightest light in our universe, in our sentient universe. I know, I was there then. New York City got together, colluded, and took care of the homeless 16-year-old boy for a year and a half without him knowing it. Obviously adopted me, made sure your king was taken care of, let him discover anything like Park Avenue folk, Gracie Mansion folk, across the street from Gracie Mansion. Oh, my friends, met Marlene Dietrich, Beatles people, just everywhere. I just went everywhere, wherever I wanted. I went. I was well received. At that point, in 8 years, there's been a change and it has not been for the better. And I owe that country a great deal. And so it really, really bothers me to have to say that. But from the time that she went off the gold standard, she's been drunk with no wine and living on fantasy and pretend realities that she's propagandized, if you will, into existence. The fact that she's had men walking on the moon in 1968. And, WikiLeaks killed that. WikiLeaks also destroyed the U.S. military, any credibility that the U.S. military and hence the U.S. government can any moral authority they ever had. So this is what we have on one side. On the other side, we have China and our Far East folk, who are hardworking people willing to take on any job you didn't want, any job you didn't want to get your hands dirty doing in the advanced world that everyone can say this. They don't look too advantaged to us right now. But anyway, bear with me for another 4 or 5 minutes or so. And then we have China, who has labored like a donkey through 100 years of humiliation, finally gets her act in gear, finds a system of government that's going to work for her and her people that they can believe in, and spend the next 50 years getting it right. Lots of mistakes along the way, tons of them. And they tried to, like everybody else, try to pretend that they didn't really happen. They do happen to everyone. Anybody's human making mistakes, for sure. You can count on that. We're not born perfect. We're born geniuses. We're born with God resident inside of us. Prosecutors of our lives will determine what portion of God was born into us remains. Except for the love of genius. Now, anyway, then China discovers, maybe a combination of socialism and capitalism can really work here. Why not give it a try since she had balls to give something complete, a revolutionary again a try, and it worked. And it's working for her brilliantly because she has brilliant minds, long-term thinkers and scholars that the West cannot imagine. There's no vision of it. And in Iran as well. And all these countries you're seeking to bully have a very long history in their DNA, long-term memory of adversary. Those regimes, those countries have lasted for thousands of years. You're 250 years old in the United States and in your wheelchair already. Anyway, so China's doing well now. She wants to prosper just like everybody else. The American dream, if you can work hard and do it, that's great, except you've got this old hero over in the neighborhood next door who's saying, I used to be the prettiest bitch in town. I used to get the highest price for my ass from anybody. I demand a recalibration. I want to stay the prettiest whore in the whole world forever. And then we got Mother China over here saying, well, you want to calm down a bit, sweetie. All we want to do, we don't want to tell you how to live your life. We're beyond that. We just want to be left in peace. We both want to keep people like you out. But the thing is, we like to do business with you. That's about it. And we want to do win-win business. We don't want to conquer anybody, take anybody over, beat anybody up, or tell anybody how to think. We just want to do business. We're Chinese. We like, we don't need any advice from you. We don't need to learn about democracy. We don't need to learn about boys can have babies, all that shit. You keep that to yourself, okay? Fine. And so we'll keep our morality, our stuff to ourselves. And so you get this older, this geriatric teenager in a wheelchair had a called CIA that joined the forces with Zionist land, which is like Hitler land. So you got the new Nazis and the thing that gave birth to the Nazis in the first place, which was Zionism. Adolf Hitler got up with the Zionist manifesto and thought, are you fucking crazy? I wouldn't have them know. Never heard of Jews running my world, my Germany, and the whole world. But they had to leave her. So anyway, these two really diseased whores got together and decided they were going to decide what was perpetuous my whole world. In the meantime, we've got all these other countries that are minding their own business, doing the very best they can to get along with everybody. Don't want to fight with anybody, just want to do business. And some of them are even willing to agree, okay, boys can have babies if they really insist. they chuckle in their hearts. The way these Jews chuckle in their hearts about the Goyim Trump, they got him on a rope. He's like that. He's like the French poodle that can spell his name. Anyway, this is your King of Beans speaking, and this is our channel take on the world in less than 50 minutes. A good chunk into April. What is it? April 10th, 2025. My hairdresser's on vacation.